Hi, I'm Joseph Crudup, and welcome to my storybook. Today I'm going to be reading this book called Coretta Scott King. I will be reading chapter 6 of this book. Yesterday I have been reading chapter 5 of this book. Today I'm reading chapter 6 in this book. This is the part 4 on this Joseph Crudup storybook. Chapter 6. For better or worse. Coretta younger her was as mother, wife, and defense secretary of the Montgomery Improvement Association with grace and steely determination. So much work hard to be done, taking care of worker, keeping her home intact, participation in her husband's work, and maintaining her musician skills. That since there wasn't enough hours in the day to sit back and reflect on how her life was changing. Coretta was now the wife of the world's most morally black leader in America. People, both black and white, wanted to know more about the dramatic Dawn Sutton Crusoe, who was turning the racist South upside down with a fervent, non-violent protest movement. The MIA maintained contact with scores of newspapers reporters who came to Montgomery to report the ongoing events. Black ministers throughout the South began to follow the MIA's example, organizing their congregations to fight racial injustice. Outlaw Rusty convinced Martin it was time to bring all the opposing church protest groups under one nation organization that would use nonviolence to promote social, popularity, and economic equity for certain blacks. Daddy King agreed to hold a meeting of black leaders at his church in Atlanta. Friends Shuttlesworth, a black minister and president of the Alabama Christian movement for human rights in Montgomery, helped Martin organize a meeting which was scheduled to take place during January 10th and 11th, 1957 at the Baptist Church in Atlanta. But the night before the meeting was supposed to begin, Montgomery's black community was decided by a sudden rise of church fire bombings. Rough Ability's church was permanently destroyed. Martin asked Coretta to take his place at the meeting so that he and Benavente could return to Montgomery to help the community cope with the tragic violence. Coretta was the meeting's first speaker. She notified the assembly of the bombings in Montgomery and presented the MIA's plan for building a Sutton Carcerator to direct the protest movement. The gathering of the mysterious and several leaders unanimously supported the plan. Martin returned to Atlanta for the second day of meetings, where it was decided that there will be a larger foreigner meeting in New Orleans. The Sutton Christian Leadership Conference was born at that meeting on February the 14th, 1957. The organization's headquarters was at Savalas in Atlanta. Martin was elected president. Ella Baker, as much strong-willing and outspoken grassroots activists who worked with the NAACP and in a friendship group in New York, became the SCLC's executive secretary. She was responsible for running the SCLC office and taking care of the organization's day-to-day activities. Years later, she would advise Coretta how to be more fully involved in the movement. As soon as the SCLC was established, Martin, Martin sent President Dwight Eisenhower the second of two messages from the organization asking him to investigate racial injustice in the South and to respond to the terrorist attacks that have followed the Montgomery boycott. Unfortunately, the White House, remained silent. On February 18th, Martin's photograph appeared on the cover of Time magazine. The story highlighted Martin's leadership during the Montgomery boycott. In the spring, Coretta and Martin traveled to the West African nation of Ghana to attend that country's Independence Day celebration. They also visited France, Italy, Britain, and Switzerland. Martin began to travel more frequently, both in America and on board, lecturing for universities and civil organizations. He talked about the importance of nonviolent and encouraging people of all races to work together for social justice. Meanwhile, the SCLC learned that President Eisenhower had been quietly trying to push a major civil rights bill through Congress. The proposed regulations will give the federal government the power to investigate civil rights violations against blacks and to intentionally on behalf of blacks who were denied the right to vote. The legalizations was extremely important. A major civil rights law had not been passed in the United States since the 1800s. Black men had been granted the right to vote with the passage of the 15th Amendment in 1870. But since that time, laws called grandfather clauses have prevented many certain blacks from exercising their rights. Grandfather clauses prohibit blacks from violating if their grandfathers, who have been slaves, could not register to do so. Poll taxes also kept blacks away from the ballot box. Most southern states have laws requiring the blacks to pay as much as $2 to vote, plus back taxes for every year they had not voted since age 21. None of these restrictions applied to whites. They were designed to prevent poor, undereducated blacks from exercising their rights as citizens. When Martin returned from his travels abroad, he spent most of his time helping the SCLC, organizing the prayer preliminaries for freedom in support of the President's Vendetta voting rights bill. Martin was busy, but he was also thrilled with his growing family. Coretta was pregnant with their second child. On May 17, 1957, more than 30,000 people marched into the steps of the Lincoln Memorial to help Martin Luther King Jr. outline the SCLC's next move against racial discrimination in the South. Give us the ballot, Martin said to the thousands of supporters who traveled to Washington, D.C. for the prayer preliminaries. We will transform the silent misdeeds of the blood-thirsty mobs into the calculated good deeds of ordinary citizens. After the preliminaries, the SCLC began plans to launch a massive voter education and registration drive throughout the South. The organization hopes to register 5 million new black voters in all the southern states. Only 1.25 million blacks will register. Martin and Coretta were a busy couple. Martin continued with his personal duties at Netsaw and travel, giving speeches and lectures. He was not home much. As a matter of fact, an article in Jet magazine estimated that he gave more than 20 speeches and traveled 780,000 miles in one year. When he was at home, Martin spent his time finishing the last chapters of Stride Toward Freedom, his book, his first book. In it, he told the story of the Montgomery bus boycott. On October 23, 1957, Coretta gave birth to Martin Luther King III, the King family's first son. With his book, Coretta's responsibilities first son. With his book, Coretta's responsibility multiplied. But she still juggled everything in her life with grace and effectively. In the spring of 1958, Coretta packed her bags and hit the wall to make her debut as a public speaker. The New Hope Baptist Church in Denver had invited her to be the guest speaker for its Women's Day program. Coretta shared the King's experiences during the boycott and discussed the growing nonviolent protest movement began by the SCLC. She also performed selections from the Freedom concert program that she had premiered 2 years early in New York City. On September 17th, Stride Toward Freedom was published, and a national book tour followed. Martin flew to New York for a book signing while Coretta stayed home with the children. 2 days later, it was expected of Martin to arrive home. But when the phone rang on the night of September 19th, Coretta received a shocking news. Dr. Oakley Maxwell, a Baptist minister and a friend from New York City, told her that Martin had been stabbed during a book signing at the department store in Harlem. He had been rushed to Harlem Hospital for surgery. He's alive, the minister said, but it is serious, very serious. Coretta informed her brother Obey, who was visiting from Melbourne, what had happened when Ref Ability called to perform the news. Coretta sobbed, posted the conversation. Ability agreed to travel to New York with her and Christine, Martin's sister. All the hours I was in water, I keep thinking about the possibility of Martin's death. Coretta worked years after the event. At the same time, I tried to tell myself that he will survive. Martin was lucky he had been stabbed with a little opener. The blade had come to rest against his own wallet. Had the blade sliced the usual activities, Martin would have to bleed to death. And Coretta, while at her husband's hospital room, was barely concussed. But their eyes met. Looking at her frail husband, Coretta silently came to terms with the fact that Martin could be killed at any time. His work in the nonviolent protest movement made him a marked man. The drug was most worsened in the South, where many whites signal with resentment over his intent to bring about racial justice. But this attack had come in Harlem and in 7 relation. Miss Ursula Corey was a militarily unstable black woman. Coretta's fate was changed in a way it had never been before. Could she continue at her husband's side? withstanding the constant threat of danger without bitterness towards his enemies. By the fourth Sunday in December, Martin had fully recovered. He returned to the pulpit at the Baptist Church and delivered a sermon that reminded his congregation to be thankful for the blessings of the holiday season. This was one Christmas that Martin and Coretta were especially grateful to see. Early in the following year, the Kings traveled to India. Martin explored the whole land of Grand. His spiritual motor, learning more about the latest physicality and antithesis. He had a legitimate visit with John Hollister, India's Prime Minister, discussing Graham's protest movement and the effectiveness of nonviolent activity. Martin's work with SCLC was progressing as slowly. President Eisenhower's one award voting rights law was deadlocked in Congress, and he hopes the trip will give him these insights on how to push the civil rights agenda forward. Coretta was busy performing freedom concerts throughout India to educate that country's people about the black struggle for social justice in America. Coretta and Martin returned to Montgomery with a renewed dedication to the principles of nonviolence and a new commitment to the SCLC's voter registration drive. The Kings decided to move to Atlanta so Martin could be closer to the organization's main headquarters. Martin passed on his duties as president of the MIA to assembly, and with Daddy King's help, he returned to the spiritual home of his childhood and was named his father, co-pastor at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Fayetteville, 1960. The family moved into the modest house a few blocks away from the church. As soon as the Kings were settled, Coretta joined the local branch of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, working to stop nuclear proliferation by conventional world leaders, to outlaw the testing of atomic weapons. Coretta was proud to join the group. She knew any contribution she made to the world's peace movement also would add the black civil rights struggle by helping to unite all people. She also found her family's mental test left again soon after settling in Atlanta. Martin was indicated by the state of Alabama for the illegally his income tax returns for 1956 and 1957. The changes in power that he had pocketed income from the MIA and the SCLC, but not reporting it in publicly. Coretta was saddened to see that this attack on his integrity was ever harder on Martin than the physicality assault he had endured the year before. To Coretta's a jury of 12 white men from Montgomery acquitted Martin on May 28, 1960, but then she faced another humble. She was scheduled to speak at 3 separate church services the next day for Women's Day at Ottertots Baptist Church. Coretta left directly from the trial for Cleveland, arriving at 5 a.m. Her speech was scheduled for 11, and she had not had any time to prepare a presentation. What ability you had accomplished her, said Coretta I think you ought to speak about your experiences this week. Just talk about that. She did just she did just that for 40 minutes after she was introduced that morning. Speaking as an Vermont as a student of Vermont, let's see, about those long days in court, the terrible anxiety, and the trumpet panel conclusion. Coretta captured and held her in Dinah's attention. Their attention as his response afterwards confirmed her success. Martin was not the only member of the family who possessed a gift for poetry. Around this time, black college students began to heed the call for nonviolent protest against social justice. In April 1960, more than 350 students from colleges throughout the South had met at Sean University in Raleigh, North Carolina, to form a new organization to conduct the mass protests. Black students had held a series of sit-ins at department store lunch cultures to demand that black customers be served. During these sit-ins, students sat in silence and refused to move for white customers. The sit-in movement was spreading to cities in North Carolina, Virginia, and Florida, and it needed a national group to keep people's passions alive. The student nonviolent commitment was born at Sean University, and Martin and Ellen Baker agreed to serve as the group's advisors. The SCLC provided office space and finance for the students. In October, Martin and a group of 75 black students and several little stations had sat in at Rick's department store in Atlanta. The protesters agreed not to pay bail if they were arrested. More than 30 people, including Martin, were taken to Atlanta First Street Fulton County Jail. 5 days later, the mayor released all the sit-in protesters except Martin. He was taken to jail in Coretta County, the Repertory headquarters of the Ku Klux Klan. Martin was cleared of charges related to the sit-in, but police in Coretta County held him on an old probation violation that standing for any real driver's license. The judge sentenced Martin to 6 months of hard labor at the state penitentiary in Louisville. Coretta was 5 months pregnant with the King's third child when she heard the sentence. She broke down. It was the first and only time Coretta wept in public. Daddy King unmoderated. She called to start crying, but it was no use. Coretta's spirit was more than mentally broken. The Louisville prison was 300 miles away from Atlanta. Coretta worried that she could not make the long trip until after she had delivered, and she wondered how her young family would cope with the long separation. Martin was taken from the court in handcuffs and put back into a cell. Coretta, Dale, you have to be strong. He told her when she and Daddy King came to see him. Daddy King, hiding his own angerness, also rallying his daughter-in-law. You don't see me crying. I ain't ready to fight. When you see Daddy crying, Coretta, then you can start crying. I'm not talking about this lying down. Coretta regained her composure, but she still had great worries about Martin's safety. Her worries were exaggerated when she learned the next morning that Martin had been transferred to Louisville under cover of darkness. News of Martin's arrest floor the nation's airways. Reporters called the SCLC for updates on Martin's condition. Daddy King, SCLC Associates, and lawyers worked furiously to get Martin out of jail. As Daddy King worked the legal system to regain his son's freedom, Senator John F. Kennedy, a Democratic candidate in the 1960s presidential election, gave Coretta an unaccepted phone call. He told her he was concerned about Martin and his family. He offered to help in any way he could. Coretta thankfully said. Senator Kennedy stood by his word. Kennedy's campaign manager and local brother, Robert, called the judge in Martin's case. Before Coretta knew it, her fears were laid to rest. Martin was released from prison on a $2,000 bond. The SCLC flew him home to Atlanta. Later that fall, Senator John F. Kennedy won the presidential election by a slim margin, a margin that Coretta led intuitively to his individual behalf of Martin. On January 30, 1961, Coretta gave birth to her third child, Dexter Scott King. Thanks to his many supporters, Martin was free to share in this happy event. That will be the end of the part 4 of this book. I have read chapter 6 of this book. Tomorrow we'll be reading chapter 7, Birmingham. Until then, I'm Judge Crudup. May you stay happy, enjoy, and God bless.